So as you can tell, I was a little late getting back home to do a video report today. So rather than sit here and type it for you, figured I'd stop and shoot the video in the car, which means you're also going to have to deal with me holding the laptop up, and you're going to see it bouncing around a little bit, but we'll try to keep that to a minimum today. But hey, this is the price you pay to get the free pick on video. Hey guys, this is going to be, needless to say, your Tuesday video report. Of course, last night took a split with the complimentary plays, cashing in the NBA with the San Antonio Spurs, getting the job done. How about the Memphis coach going off afterwards about the officiating? Great job, typical tactic by a coach. You realize, of course, it had really nothing to do with what happened with the officiating in Game 2. That was all theatrical, all a performance to get the Grizzlies to get more calls in Game number 3. And we'll see how, if that overreaction for really not that much bad officiating Game number 2 pays off with the Grizzlies getting more beneficial calls in Game number 3. Of course, it'll also pay off in a hefty fine for the coach for the Grizzlies from the NBA league offices, I'm sure, as well. But let's talk about tonight's free plays. Of course, the other complimentary play last night, unfortunately, was a loser as the Braves won, but they did not get the job done on the run line last night as a run line dog against San Diego. They did complete the sweep, but they only won by a single tally. Okay, tonight, let's take a look at the game between Chicago and Boston. Now, listen. I certainly was surprised that the Celtics failed to win in game number 1. Isaiah Thomas had the monstrous game less than 24 hours after the unfortunate tragedy with his sister being killed in a car crash. But, you know, the rest of the Celtics simply did not show up. This is a team that is now 2-11 straight up in the first round of the playoffs the past 2+ seasons. And the Bulls did what they do best. This is an inconsistent team except in one area. They are a very good rebounding team, and they did so again in game number 1. They out-rebounded the Celtics 53-36. 20 offensive boards in that contest. And you look at what Jimmy Butler did, 30 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks. He had 30 points and 9 rebounds, 23 points in the second half. But where the Bulls really got an unexpected contribution was from Bobby Portis off the bench. And let's face it, the Bulls bench is nothing to brag about, especially after they made that midseason trade with the Oklahoma City Thunder. But Portis came up with 19 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 29 minutes. This is a guy who only averaged 6.8 points and 4.5 rebounds in the regular season. But with those type of contributions, it makes the Bulls so much more dangerous. And again, when you win game number 1, as a road dog, and you win that game outright, you are suddenly a very, very confident team. And when you are a Celtics team that finished with 53 wins, and you win the number 1 seed, and you have the home court advantage, but you're a Celtics team that is still young, inexperienced when it comes to postseason success, a team that has been ousted in the first round each of the previous 2 years, and you lose despite your star player having perhaps his best postseason performance in a Boston uniform after 2 previous postseason ousters where nobody else delivered around you, and once again, nobody delivered in supporting roles other than perhaps Al Horford, well, where do you go? I mean, you're going to need big performances from guys like Avery Bradley or Marcus Smart, because look what happened. Isaiah delivered, Horford delivered, but nobody else did. And that's been the problem for Brad Stevens' team the past 2 years. Now, I expect Boston to rebound here tonight. I expect Boston to win. But I think, again, the only way that you can play this game is to go ahead and take the Chicago Bulls plus the points, because in this contest, you know the Bulls are once again going to own the boards. And if they do so, the Celtics are not going to get many second chance opportunities. The Celtics are not going to get many chances to run the floor. The Celtics are going to do what they do best. They're going to launch a bunch of three-pointers, and that's going to be their MO. So I think getting the 7 points makes them attractive here tonight, and going with Chicago plus the points would be the way I would play this contest. Now, I think personally the best bet on the board tonight is the Milwaukee-Toronto game. So let's also talk about the game between Utah and LA Clippers. Again, you have a situation here where the road team pulls off the win. And you have a road team that loses its star center in the opening minute of play when Gobert goes down. and they pull off the win with a one-leg Derek Favors playing extensive minutes. But how did they win it? Because they're veterans to deliver, as Joe Johnson and George Hill combined for, I think, 37 points. And a team that had lost 3 out of 4 in the regular season to the Clippers pulls off the win. And they withstand a big comeback by the Clippers, because remember, when Chris Paul reeled off those 10 straight points, didn't you think, as I did, that the Clippers finally were going to sneak off and pull out that win after trailing by 6 to 10 points for most of that contest? But Joe Johnson drives the lane. They don't call the timeout. He scores in the waning seconds, and Utah pulls off the upset in game number 1. What really surprised me in this contest tonight is how big of a favorite the Clippers are. Now, the Clippers are going to win this game, and I understand why the price is so big. Sure, the Clippers are still without their starting, the Jazz are still without their starting center. Clippers, everybody expects them to win. But why would you lay 9 points with a team that couldn't win in game number 1? And a team that has shown to be a fraud in the postseason the past couple of years? I mean, this is a team that, has repeatedly failed to deliver. They lost in the first round last year to Portland. This is a team that choked in the second round to Houston, up 3-1 back in 2015. This is not a team that has delivered in the postseason. And the Jazz are a damn good defensive team. And with that veteran presence, 2 steadying hands in Hill and Johnson, and with Gordon Hayward, who did not particularly play well against the Clippers during the regular season, having a nice game with 19 points and 10 rebounds in game number 1, I'll take the points. Again, I think the Clippers win, but I think the only way you play it here is to go ahead and grab the points with the underdog. Remember, first round, or actually any round of the postseason, you're always going to find the defensive intensity turned up a notch. You're going to find teams play more half-court sets. It's rare that you're going to find games like you do in Cleveland, Indiana, where teams are going to play up-tempo and there's going to be a lot of points being scored. That's just not playoff basketball 99% of the time. You're going to find the tempo being slowed down, which the Clippers were very successful in, the Jazz were very successful in doing game number 1. They slowed down the tempo of the game, and that certainly hurt. You saw how they were able to take Blake Griffin out of the offense for LA after the first half of that contest. I think, again, the underdogs are the way to go with both Chicago and the Utah Jazz. And of the two, I like the Utah Jazz a little more of the 2 free selections. So that'll do it, guys. I wish you well, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow when we do this one more time.